You're gonna catch the wave.
You. Pan-fried fish. We've got teriyaki. We've got stir-fried vegetables, and we're going to do a lemon and parsley butter to go with it. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we've got some butter. You're going to have about, because you're only doing 2 portions, about 25 grams. So you're like 25 grams. Nice. We're going to, maybe 30. We're going to soften it. So with your butter, you want it so it's just malleable, so you can actually swash it around. So that was about 15 seconds straight out of the fridge. Then we're going to chop a bit of parsley. So you want your parsley chopped quite fine. Ben, you need to watch this. Put half.
That was not.
Oh, we'll put all that in. We'll chop a bit more. We'll chop a bit more for later. We're going to use that later, okay? So just put it to one side. Lemon. So you're going to use, on your grater, you've got really fine, next to fine slicing and big. You want to use the biggest of the fine ones, so the middle one. You just want the zest, alright? So that's just the yellow bit. It's not the white bit underneath, which is called the pith. So you just want to get a little bit, smash it into your bowl. And we're going to put a bit of just going to cut 2 wedges. Like that. So remember, we're cutting the tops and the bottoms off. Put that to one side for later as well. Put a bit of juice. Now this will be quite hard to mix in, so just put a little bit in. Now with this, you might be able to mix it together with a spoon. Depends how soft you've got it. Or you might need to get your fingers in there. We're just going to squash it out. This is going to be like our sauce that's going to go on at the end. We're going to cook it all up, and then we're just going to put a little bit of this on top, so when it goes out it's going to melt slowly over your fish, which will make it real shiny, give it a good glaze, and obviously it'll flavour it up too. So this butter's got salt in it, so I'm not going to put any extra salt in this. If the kitchen's really warm, you might want to put this back in the fridge, but we'll be right today. So you've got to work it quite hard to get that lemon juice into it. Right, so that's for later as well. Right, that's done. We've got our garnish. That's done. Next thing we're going to prepare is the stir fry. So basically you're going to cook these in order of hardness, alright? So your carrots are pretty hard. We've got onion. So we'll need approximately half a carrot each for our 2 portions. Remember, when you take the tops and bottoms off, you're just nipping them, you're not chopping them halfway down. half of that. Now I'm going to go cut it in half this way, can you see? And then I'm going to slice it on an angle. Now we want to slice it quite fine so it doesn't take forever to cook. While you're slicing this, you should have your oil on to heat. So we're going to shallow fry this in oil, and we're going to shallow fry our fish in butter. So a little bit of canola. So shallow frying a little bit. We don't want heaps. I'm just going to heat it up on there. We're going to cook everything on these back bits. For your butter, for your fish, we'll just stick that in here now. We're going to be going with about the same amount of butter as what you did for your top, about 25 grams, I guess, 20 grams. What else have we got in here? So onion. We're going to peel that. So I have to take so many layers off this one because it was quite damaged on the top. We're going to slice this, so we take the root out. So that means it's going to be able to fall apart quite nicely. Mushrooms we're going to put in. We'll just take the stalk off. We're going to peel them. So use your little knife and just tuck it in there. So you're not actually digging the top of the surface off. We're literally just peeling it away. If they're really mucky, do you think you need to wash them? No, you don't with mushrooms. Mushrooms, we call it polishing. You get a clean cloth and you just polish it off. A couple of those. So you've got 2 mushrooms, you've got half a carrot, you've got a couple of cauliflower florets, and we'll do a couple of broccoli florets in there too. You know what a floret is? Yeah? No? Right. So you notice with your oils, they go really thin when they get hot. So we want to get that hot before we start cooking it. How are we going to test if it's hot? It's alright. You can put your hand over it. You put a bit of carrot in, hear that? So that's all good. We can go with that. So we put the carrots in. It's called a stir fry. So you might have a spoon. If you're not confident in giving it a bit of a flick over, you can just flick it over if you need to. Keep it moving. So the next thing I'd put in there, I'm going to slice my onions. Or onions, half an onion, you've got each half a small onion. If the onions are really big, obviously you'll put less than half in. So these are going to take a bit to cook. That's why they're going, we can crack on the rest of this. Cauliflower we want to put in sort of bite size. We don't want to be cutting anything up, alright, so we're just going to take little florets, cut them down. So that's a floret, yes. Put those down. Broccoli, same thing. Just break them out. With your broccoli, if you're going to do this at home or in a restaurant, you can actually take the stalk, which is, some of them have really long stalks. You take the stalk and you can peel them and then just dice those up or slice them up, and you can use those in your dish as well. If you peel them, they're good as. Right, so carrots on the go. I'm going to put my cauliflower in. Break my onions up. Thing in there. What else have we got there? Just mushrooms to go. So, capsicum.
How many capsicums?
About quarter tops will be enough. We're going to slice that. And I'm slicing it sort of across so they're not really, really long. Mushrooms we're going to slice. These can all go in together. Do we season it? Yeah, always season it. Season your veggies, salt, pepper. I'm going to plant these going. So one thing to remember, if this is getting quite hot, the pan, is that you can turn it down. You probably didn't notice I turned that down just before. The other thing we can do to cool that pan down is just put a tiny bit of water in it. See how hot that is? Now what the water does, it creates a bit of steam. It cools the pan down, but it evaporates. It doesn't taste of anything, so it's all good. So, do you want to recap on that so you can write it down? We slice the carrots first, you put those in. Then we put our broccoli, our cauliflower and our onions in, all cut quite small. And then we give that a couple of seconds, minutes or whatever, and then we put capsicum and mushrooms in. And if it's too hot, we're going to put a tiny bit of cold water in there, turn the heat down, cold water, and it'll shh. Now we're not going to put any sauces with this, it's just going to be a pure what's it, you know? What do you call it? Stir fry. Remember, if it's going to be hot, get your plates in your oven. Put your oven on about 70, then they don't get too hot. They'll just be the right sort of temperature. So what we're aiming for with the stir fry is colour as well. Look at the colour in that bin. Okay, so we've got the butter on, we've got it melting. Now butter burns really easily, okay, so basically you've got solids in your butter and you've got impurities, and that's the impurities that burn. So just have it so it's melted and it's going to go a little bit frothy, alright? So, fish, as always, check it for scales, check it for bones. Okay, we've got our flour, we've got our butter there that's just starting to bubble. Always cook it presentation side first, which is the top side, which is not the skin side. Your skin side is your bottom when you present it, unless you're cooking it with the skin on. Okay, so we're going to pop that in there. So I'm putting it bone side down, shake the flour off it. Right, season your fish. Not too much of that. What we want to try and achieve is that we're going to cook this, but we're only going to turn it once, like what we did with the schnitzels. Schnitzel. Can you see that cooking slowly? So your veggies, they want to be crisp, so you want to still have a bite in them, but they want to be also a little bit soft, so just a little bit of firmness to them. We don't want them mushy, we want to be able to crunch them. See, they've got a nice bit of bubble going on. We want to cook this until we get it perfect colour underneath. One turn. So Levi, got to be always on guard with these, alright? You can't just leave them, because if they stick to the pan, they'll just burn. How do we know if our fish is cooked? Does anyone know? White. How's it? Would you prod it?
Yeah.
Yeah, prod it. And how the fish is made up is made of lots of flakes like this, and when it's cooked, you'll feel them give way, they'll slide away. You when you press it down. But so I'm just going to cook this till we've got a bit of brownness going on. So obviously, because it's pan fried, we want it to look like it's pan fried. We don't want it to look like it's microwave. So really delicate heat here. I've got that quite low. Don't use your front one. Write in big letters at the bottom of your fingers. Don't use this gas. Don't use the big gas because guaranteed you'll all come in and stick it on that bin. Write that down. Don't use the big gas. Big letters at the bottom of your page. For any of it. You won't need that ring at all. Ooh. Right, this one should be ready. So if you can't see, come and have a look. Around the edges is going white. That's an indication the heat's coming up and around it. Okay. I'll have a little peek down to here. I can see that it's nice and golden. Turn it over. Turn it over. Swap these around. Obviously one side of the pan's warmer than the other. So, plating these out is going to be real simple. We're just going to stick the veggies on the plate. We're going to put the fillet on top possibly. We're going to get our butter. Go on that. While you're cooking this top side, sprinkle a little bit of your chopped green just on your fish. You could also give it a season up. Not too much pepper with the fish because it'll overpower it. So with fish, it cooks real fast. Once you've turned it, and you got to this stage, you can almost turn it off and just sit it in the pan if you need to. When you press it, it's still quite firm. It'll just start to give, see on the edge, it's just starting to give way. Can you see that? So close to being finished that I'm going to turn it off and just sit it in there. I'm going to get the hot plates. Generally with your stir fries, your carrots will always end up on the bottom. So we're just going to give it a bit of a stir around before we pull them out. What we're aiming for is to try and get an even amount of different veggies in each. I'm just using round plates for this one. Smash it in the middle. Even Stevens, you take a fish slice, you carefully get your fish out, okay, because it will break if you're not careful with it. Your fish out. We're going to get that butter that we did before. Just going to put a blob on the top. Now we might need to, depending on the temperature of your butter, like this is still really hot, you could just stick it under your salamander, you know, your drill, and that will just start that to melt over it. We're going to put a lemon on there. Might even put a bit of lime on there. You got any? So this is avocado oil, but it's infused with lime. I'm going to just put a little dribble of that around. Boom! Alright?
He's gonna catch the wave.